episode 10B, actually. Hi.
Wow, you know, we were like a silent movie last time, Dennis.
Apparently, the switchboard lit up with people saying, where is their audio?
I know.
What are those guys talking about?
Apparently,
Anyway.
they can't read our lips, even though...
Here we go, here we go.
Wait.
10-minute countdown has begun.
I feel like that's really our 18th minute, but that's just...
It's been a long day, but we're okay. We're here because we want to bring you some cool information about what's going on here at the Hive. First report is in from the screenwriters. We've selected 40 semifinalists. We sent out contracts, and you know, sometimes people think about it and they go, I don't know if I want it to be a film or whatever might come up.
But
let's see where we left things off.
it wasn't so bad. In fact, if you take a look at it, the green dots represent where we were before the finale, and then right before May 7th.
The deadline.
The deadline.
What happened?
This is what happened.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Pretty much green dots everywhere as far as the eye can see, including Italy. Which
I
the eye
decided
cannot
that
see.
it's not 92% like I said last time. It's 92.5.
95-ish. Okay.
95. 38 divided by 40 is 95.
But there's more. We also have filmmakers that we're working to assemble. We need 10 filmmakers who are game to take on these scripts. Where we left things off yesterday was we had these as our filmmakers. Ken's going to switch it any second now.
All right.
There he goes.
I got one job.
Patrick Newman came into the fold of filmmakers. Today we're happy to announce a new filmmaker just joining us. His name is Ryan Probstgard. Ryan joined the team. We're grateful to have him, and we're looking for some more filmmakers. So if you're interested in being given a budget and asked to produce a 10-minute film, we've got just a place for you. So
wow.
It's still TBD, but.
Dennis?
So Ken, why are we on this amazing set?
Well, we're joined by Lucille and Frank, but even more exciting, these are the sewing machines of the sewing show, also known as Mod Freestyle, also known as
Learn to Sew.
Learn to Sew.
Also known as.
But
We'll find out.
all of it is directed and guided by one of the most amazing people you're going to meet. Let's introduce her.
Allison Nelson.
Allison Nelson! There she is!
Oh, hello to the wonderful fans.
It's good to see you again.
Again.
Magical!
It's good to hear you. Apparently, she also has a voice, and she's been sharing her voice with us. We've made and released 4 episodes in the Learn to Sew series. We've been calling them Learn to Sew so far, but they're going to undergo a name change soon. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Oh, yes.
So when we started out with our initial idea, we really wanted to help people understand how to modify their clothing, which is where the name Mod 3 Style comes from: modesty, modern, and modification. But we knew that in order to help people have those skills to modify their clothing, they would need to kind of have a foundation. And so the last 4 episodes we filmed were all foundational, basic, learn how to sew. And once you've watched those, you should be ready to join us for these next episodes.
All right. So we have these 4 episodes. We've got the foundation.
Yes.
Now we're going to go to the next stage, which is the modifying them to make them, what do you call it?
It's modify, which means modify for modesty.
Excellent. We have a clip, I believe, from the show. Let's take a look at that, shall we?
I'm going to start today by talking about the number 1 thing that will determine whether or not you end up being a skilled sewer. That number 1 thing is this little guy right here.
Davis.
It's called a seam ripper. A lot of my students sometimes refer to it as an unpicker. Its name is a seam ripper. It's this fabulous little tool, costs you only like $2 or $3. It is perfectly designed to remove stitches. But this tool's function isn't actually what will determine whether or not you are a skilled sewer. It is the way you think about this tool that will decide that.
How you think about this tool. I've been noticing some life lessons when it comes to sewing. Where's that
I
come
really feel like sewing teaches me a lot of life lessons, and even life teaches me some sewing lessons. I think partially because sewing, like life, has a never-ending supply of things that can teach us and a never-ending supply of opportunities for us to learn from our mistakes. And also, it's beautiful and creative activity. I actually, kind of made the connection for that clip you just showed. I went to a maximum security prison with a group of volunteers and spent time with the inmates, and I was so overcome by the beauty of their courage in taking their time and dedicating themselves to repairing the mistakes of their past. And it really helped me think differently about my own mistakes, whether in life or even in sewing.
How are we doing time-wise?
Oh, we're doing great.
We're doing great. We got 4 minutes.
I know, we could talk forever.
Tons of time.
Okay. Well, that's cool too, because I was going to ask you about these modifications that you've made over time. Why did you focus on that niche instead of, I don't know, other alterations?
And also there's so much sewing from scratch, and I do sew from scratch too. But I think people are really, all of us are so busy that we don't have a lot of time, and so frequently people will tell me they don't have time to sew. But I wanted people to understand that sewing can sometimes just be 20 minutes of modifying something instead of 20 hours of sewing something from scratch. And also, really the clothes that we buy in the store, they cannot fit every body. Every human body is its kind of own work of art. And so having the skills to just modify the clothes you buy from a store to fit your beautiful, unique body is incredible.
You probably walk into a secondhand store and have a much wider range of things that are open to you, right? Because you have
It's actually a problem.
Really?
I look at everything and I think I could make that work, I could make that work.
Okay.
And my husband will tell you it could be a problem.
So what are some of the things that we're going to be looking forward to in the next coming episodes?
Okay, so one of the episodes you get to see a cool trick on how to make a skirt longer. I show you how to add cap sleeves to a dress, or 4 dresses, I think. And then we are just about to film on how to modify bathing suits.
Oh.
And that is going to be really valuable because finding a bathing suit that fits the way you like is really difficult.
And the bathing suit season is coming up, maybe sometime
Exactly.
this year, unless they canceled it, or I don't know.
This year's all backwards.
Well, our time's about up, but we did want to leave you with a little excerpt from episode 1 of Learn to Sew, and invite you to come watch the rest of the episodes on Hive Channel 5. Thank you for joining us, Allison.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody in the
Thanks,
studio.
everyone, for your patience, especially Allison's.
Enjoy the clip.
Now there are, as I said, 3 different skills that we need as we sew. We need to be able to sew a straight line, we need to know how to go around a corner, and we need to be able to sew a curve. For years, I have had very intelligent, put-together women tell me that they personally just do not possess the skills needed to sew a straight line. This is simply not true. If these women have the ability to drive a car in between a set of lines, then they have exactly the skill set they need to sew a straight line. The problem is people are naturally inclined to lose focus and to focus on the wrong things at times. Going back to our driving analogy, if a person drives off the road, it isn't because they lack the skill set required, it's more likely because they are focused on the wrong thing or they're distracted. The exact same thing is true with sewing, okay? When we sew, we have to decide exactly where we need to put our eyes. When I want to sew a straight line, I decide exactly where I'm going to look. I am going to look right here, right in the crack of this foot. I'm going to watch this line enter right here. I'm not going to watch back here, just right at the front of my presser foot. Now, most people are so excited about the functioning of the needle, they spend their time watching it go up and down and up and down, and that's when they find themselves out here. But if you keep your eyes right here and nowhere else, you will sew a straight line. Okay, in no time at all. It's a perfectly straight line, done by just controlling what we look at. Now, to sew our corner is just a little bit tricky, and that's why we needed our vocabulary words. Once again, we're going to only allow our eyes to focus right here. So, to go in a corner, we're just going to aim to stop roughly right in the corner. You can stop a second early if you want and use your hand wheel to take that last stitch to make sure it's exactly right. We're going to stop with our needle in our fabric. This is when we will lift up our presser foot. It will hold our paper or fabric exactly where it needs to be, and then we can turn to put our line in front of our presser foot once again. And stop. Now, say you make a mistake and go too far, okay? Go ahead and use your back stitch, take a couple stitches back, and stop with your needle right in that corner. Lift up your presser foot and turn your line toward you, and then go again. All right, I think you have the idea. So, of these three, the curve is actually the most difficult. This time it doesn't actually work for us to focus right at the front of our presser foot, because you see already our presser foot is off our line. So this is a time we need to actually focus right at the base of the needle. We are not going to watch our needle go up and down. We're going to focus right at the bottom of the needle. Now, if you come to a place that feels a little too difficult to turn, you can always lift up your presser foot and make a slight turn, and then carry on. On a really sharp curve, you may need to lift up your presser foot and turn frequently. All right. Do you see how by focusing exactly on where we want to go and not allowing ourselves to be distracted, we did exactly what we aimed to do? I think there is a life lesson here. It's easy to look at the wrong thing and be distracted by the wrong thing when you're sewing. But if you can do this, you do have the skill set you need to sew most sewing projects. And yes, you can sew a perfectly straight line. Now, if you would like to practice on these sheets before you start on actual fabric, you can print this off for free on my website, mod3style.com. Now, somebody will mention it is not good for your needle to sew on paper. Just get one needle, practice as much as you need, and then throw it out. We normally do not sew on paper. It's not great for your needles, it dulls them. Congratulations, you can now not only sew a straight line, but also a much more difficult curved line and a corners. You have the skill set to sew most simple projects now.